Councilors, today is March 7th, 2023. The time is 9:34. I call to order the regular meeting of the Birmingham City Council. Today we'll have our invocation led by Dr. Derek E. Houston Sr., Senior Pastor, Warriors International Fellowship Incorporated, and Pledge of Allegiance will be led by fellow. Belated birthday, Councilor J.T. Moore. If you'll please stand. Thank you.
Shall we pray? Father, in Jesus' name, Lord, we are grateful for another day. This is the day. You designed this day with us, each one of us in mind. So first of all, prayer, supplication with thanksgiving be made known for all men, especially for those that are in authority. And today, Father, we pray for our leadership over Birmingham, Alabama, that you would grant them the eyes of their understanding to be enlightened, to know what is the hope of your calling, what is the exceeding greatness of your power to us as believers, and what is the riches of the glory of that inheritance vested in them and their leadership. You said, Father, first of all, if we would acknowledge you in all of our ways, you promised to direct our path. Continue to spearhead and direct and lead and guide us, Lord, in all of our endeavors, Lord, and cause, Lord, the rules, the laws, that we institute, Lord, to glorify you in some way, Lord, that your name may be magnified. Thank you, Father, for divine protection over our city. Father, we cry out for our city, Lord, for when the city is run by righteous men, you said the city succeed and the people rejoice. So, Father, we rejoice today because this government has purpose to put you first in all their endeavors, and therefore we thank you for supernatural guidance and direction. Psalms 91 says that you would protect us from all hurt, harm, or endangerment. You said that, Father, that the angel of the Lord is encamped round about us. He keeps us, and they keep us in all of their ways, bearing us up in their hands. Don't allow us to dash our foot against the stone. Lord, will you begin to, Father, invade our communities with peace and comfort and unity and harmony, that, Father, we may find love in our hearts for one another, Lord. Thank you for leadership, Lord, that's leading us in that direction to continue, Lord, to carry the bloodstained banner of Jesus Christ that will continue to rout out crime and violence and problems and cause your name to be exalted. We bless you in advance and give you all the glory and all the praise. You said when we call, you will answer. Thank you for answering our prayers, Lord, as we give you all the glory, all the honor, and all the praise. It is in Jesus' name that we pray. And all the people agreed said, amen.
Amen.
Salute the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pastor Houston, thank you so much for that prayer and invocation. This time, Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Councilmember Abbott.
Present.
Councilmember Clark.
Present.
Councilmember Moore.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Councilmember O'Quinn.
Good morning.
Councilmember Tate.
Good morning, President.
Good morning. Councilmember Williams. Councilmember Woods. President Pro Tem Smitherman.
Good morning.
Good morning. Council President Alexander.
Good morning. Thank you very much. Councilors, minutes are not ready from November 1st, 2023 through February 28th, 2023. Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning, Madam President.
Good morning.
Good morning to the council, as well as good morning to the public. Madam President and Council, I have a series of updates, notes, and proclamations to share with everyone this morning, so please bear with me. The first is I want to say and give a big congratulations and shout out to Huffman High School girls basketball team as well as Ramsey High School boys basketball team. If you didn't know, they competed in the Alabama High School Athletic Association finals and semifinals this last week. Although it did not go their way, we're still very proud of these student athletes and their coaches, and you made the city very proud. Again, shout out to both teams. I also want to give a shout out to UAB as it relates to Dr. Ray Watts. Yesterday it was announced 10 years of service to UAB, and the enormous transformation over the last decade related to their footprint and what they do and provide for citizens not only here but across the entire state of Alabama. Birmingham On Demand app starts today, March 7th. The new and improved on-demand rideshare app will launch with fast, easy booking to get you on your way in no time. Everybody, I want to encourage you to download the new app today. And there's a ribbon cutting this Thursday. And the City of Birmingham, along with Growth by NCRC and Woodlawn United, will host a ribbon cutting ceremony to unveil the first 3 of 16 newly constructed homes slated to go up in the Woodlawn neighborhood, Woodlawn community. The event will take place at 9:30 a.m. on Thursday, March 9th at 801 49th Street North. This project is a part of a larger commitment by Growth by NCRC to build 200 homes around the city, which includes Woodlawn, Oak Hill, and Bellevue Heights as initial demonstrations of that plan. Madam President and Council, we made an assessment of our city employees and found that some of them were below what I define as a livable wage of $15 an hour. Please recall that our predecessors some time ago attempted to do something citywide, and it was rebuffed by the state legislators. And so for us, related to pay for staff, what we wanted to do is continue to invest in our employees, and as an employer committed to supporting our employees with competitive compensation and benefits. So we've assessed that number and been able to provide some parity and equity and make sure as an organization no employee makes less than $15 an hour. This is our simple way of saying thank you to all of our employees for their service, and we'll continue to make the necessary investments in our employees. And I want to thank the City Council related to all the other efforts you've made, cost of living adjustments, 2 within the less than 12 months, so thank you so much. Madam President and Council, the HBU Spring Coming will once again be hosted here. This festival would be March 17th through 19th, same weekend as March Madness. People from across the country will come to our city for this annual week-long fest that celebrates the historically black college and university experience through events, scholarships, panels, and service activities. You can find more information at hbcuspringcoming.com. Again, to register or find information, that's hbcuspringcoming.com. Additional note on rental assistance, bulk trash, and uniform trash. I'll try to go fast on these 3. Birmingham residents who need assistance with their rent and utilities, please reach out to the Department of Community Development. Help is available for qualified applicants, and you can get information or receive information at birminghamal.gov/rent-help, or you can simply call 254-2309. Again, that's 254-2309. City of Birmingham will continue to keep residents informed about bulk trash pickup with daily updates online at birminghamal.gov/bulk trash. Again, that's birminghamal.gov/bulk trash. Related to uniform trash bins, as a reminder, those residents already using the new carts, you should place them in front of your homes and be sure to place all household garbage inside of the bins. You can receive more updates by going to birminghamal.gov/pickup or by texting BHAM Ready. Again, that's BHAM Ready to 888-777. Madam President and Council, in closing now, I've got a few short proclamations I want to share with you and the public. At this time, I would like Ann Regal to join me and anybody on her team that's with her to the podium. Ann is the Executive Director of the American Red Cross Mid-Alabama Chapter. They won as it relates to stealing, recruiting, snatching her up, whatever you want to call it. But related to her humanitarian spirit and the humanitarian spirit of the Red Cross. This is part of the foundation of our community and is exemplified in the work they do by their volunteers and donors. So, Ann, thank you so much for your leadership. So today, Council, we want to celebrate them with a proclamation that I'll just read in part. And it states, whereas in times of crisis, people in Birmingham come together to care for one another. And whereas in Birmingham, the contributions of local Red Cross volunteers give hope to the most vulnerable in their darkest hours, such as providing emergency shelter, food and comfort for families devastated by local disasters, including home, fires, floods, and tornadoes. Donating essential blood for accident and burn victims, heart surgery and organ transplant patients, and those receiving treatment for leukemia, cancer, or sickle cell disease, and supporting service members and veterans and their families and caregivers, and helping to save the lives of others with first aid, CPR, and other skills. And whereas American Red Cross works to prevent and alleviate human suffering and is vital to strengthening our community's resilience. Now, therefore, I, Randall L. Woodfin, Mayor of the City of Birmingham, along with the Birmingham City Council, do hereby proclaim March 2023 as Red Cross Month in the City of Birmingham, Alabama. And I encourage all residents of Birmingham to support its humanitarian mission. And at this time, Madam President and Council, I would like Ann to share a few words with you.
Mayor Woodfin and esteemed City Council, I want to thank you for your ongoing support of the American Red Cross. And with this proclamation, I would also like to make a commitment. And that commitment is the team at Mid-Alabama Red Cross will continue to show up and support the citizens just as you do every single day. And that's in a variety of different ways, whether that's through our blood program, as Mayor Woodfin just talked about, supporting people that have gone through crisis or who are suffering with sickle cell disease, to our amazing disaster relief teams and people who serve and their families. We will be there with a hug and with services and with a commitment. And I just want to thank you for everything that you've done for our organization, and I look forward to partnering with you from now and in the future. Thank you.
Mayor Woodfin, if I may, Ann, thank you so much. We're very appreciative of the work that the American Red Cross does for our neighbors and for our community. As a retiree of the American Red Cross, I work for the Blood Services Division, so I'm very excited to see you and welcome you to the Red Cross group of family. And thank you again for the work that you do for the citizens of Birmingham. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those kind words.
Sure, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Ann. Madam President and Council, as well as the public, if you didn't know, I want to say March 5th through the 11th is Women in Construction Week. So at this time, I would like to ask Bernetta Woodbury and the National Association of Women in Construction, Greater Birmingham Chapter 53, to join me. Apparently, to the Divine Divas, Delta Sigma Theta, everybody's jocking y'all today. We'll talk about that later. Today, we are recognizing the Women in Construction Week 25th anniversary. And I'm thrilled to have you here today for this milestone. So, really appreciate you. And so I want to just read a proclamation in part, and then I'll come up and let you say a few words. And it states, whereas the Greater Birmingham chapter has distinguished itself for 56 years as the voice of women in construction in Birmingham. And whereas the work done by the Greater Birmingham chapter has benefited Birmingham through community development and educational programs, and whereas the Greater Birmingham chapter has unceasingly promoted the employment and advancement of women in the construction industry. And whereas the construction community represented by the Greater Birmingham chapter has been a driving force in fostering community development through renovation and beautification projects, promotion of skilled trade careers, and a positive vision of the future. And whereas the Greater Birmingham chapter has sought to achieve successful results for Birmingham and surrounding areas in a cooperative spirit with other organizations. Now, therefore, I, Randall L. Woodfin, along with the Birmingham City Council, do hereby recognize the Greater Birmingham Chapter and its many dedicated volunteers for its steadfast work on behalf and support of women in construction, and do proudly proclaim the week of March 5th through 11th, 2023, as Women in Construction Week, and encourage our residents to congratulate the organization on its many accomplishments.
Thank you, Mayor Woodfin and City Council. I want to say I am very honored to have the opportunity to talk to you guys briefly about the Women in Construction Week. This year we celebrate 25 years of women in construction. I personally have been in the industry for 17 years. Within those 25 years, things have drastically changed. From me starting 17 years ago, a lot of times I was the only female in the office or in the different job sites. Now I'm able to go to job sites and see a whole lot of females working, whether it's in the trades, project management, or on the engineering design side. So that's an honor to see how far we've come in 25 years. I want to say thank you so much to the City of Birmingham for y'all support on everything that we have done, from the trades and everything else that we have. I would say the Protective Stadium, which was one project I worked on, had over 50 females working on that project. And I personally didn't even realize that until I walked out on the job site one day, because I was used to not seeing that many. So the progress we have made in 25 years has been great. So I would say thank you so much for your support and helping us celebrate 25 years of women in construction.
Madam President, at this time you have a young lady to your right who is a divine diva. And if it's okay with you, Madam President, and your colleagues, I would like for her to come down and stand next to me as we talk about the Delta Sisterhood Month. So, there are some other ladies in here who I also would like to come up at this time. Now, while we do appreciate the Red Cross and what they do in saving lives, and we're extremely honored for women in construction, there is not a greater organization, Madam President and Council, that wears red the way these ladies do. So the month of March is the time that the ladies of Delta pause to reflect, reminisce, and rejoice in their sisterhood. The City of Birmingham has many women of Delta who serve us every single day, and I want to say a very happy Sisterhood Month to you all and appreciate you and are grateful, extremely grateful for your example of what sisterhood is. At this time, I am going to yield the mic to my friend, Crystal Smitherman, to take over.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Woodfin. So really, we have a time where the Deltas as a whole, with Jefferson County and Birmingham alumni, come up here, but I think it's very important that we highlight the Deltas who really are behind the scenes of City Hall. We see all of these great women from all of these departments, and thank you for the great work you have done, because you know you've organized everything. But it's really important because it's 110 years of Delta this year. And March 3rd, 1913, Delta Sigma Theta was the only African American sorority to participate in the Women's Suffrage March, which is really, really important and really helped to propel helping women's rights. So it's important celebrating each other, sisterhood, and we're based off of service, love, and sisterhood as well. And I'll give the mic to whoever is going to talk to next. Or let's introduce y'all. We would love to know who the Deltas are at City Hall. Yeah, so I'm Crystal Smitherman, and I'm a part of Delta Sigma Theta. I serve on Birmingham City Council.
My name is Kaylin Sledge Davis. I serve as the Mayor's Deputy Administrator.
My name is Alexis Fitzpatrick, and I work at Municipal Court.
My name is Yolanda Lawson, and I'm currently the Manager of Tax Collections.
Good morning. I'm Denise Gilmore, and I serve as Senior Director of the Division of Social Justice and Racial Equity.
Good morning. I'm Janice Blackwell, Captain with the Birmingham Police Department.
Good morning. I am Shanae Eddings Bennett, and I proudly serve as the Director of Birmingham Park and Recreation.
Good morning. I am Destiny Solomon Teal, and I serve as Assistant City Attorney with the Office of City Attorney.
Good morning. I'm Adrienne Stitt. I serve in the Finance Department as the Director of Grants.
Good morning. I'm Mary Hunter, Municipal Court Magistrate Supervisor.
Good morning. My name is Alicia Johnson Williams. I serve as the Senior Director of the historic Batwell Auditorium, the Negro Southern League Baseball Museum, and the Crossplex. Thank you.
Right.
Good morning. My name is Danielle Baskin, and I serve as the Senior Event Manager of the historic Batwell Auditorium. Good morning.
Good morning. I am Amanda Plain, the Chief of Staff for Birmingham City Council District 1.
Good morning. I am Diana Bolden, and I serve as the Budget Manager in the Finance Department.
Good morning. My name is Alfreda Anderson. I'm a Senior Auditor in the Finance Department.
Good morning. My name is Lalisha Coleman, and I serve as the Principal Accountant in the Budget Division of the Finance Department.
Good morning. My name is Jacquees Smith, and I serve as the Administrative Service Manager at the Birmingham Fire and Rescue Service.
Good morning. I'm Maisha Hutchinson. I have the honor of serving as Chief of Staff for District 5 for the Dr. Darrell O'Quinn.
I'm never said the Dr.
Well, the mayor, does he want to sit?
Hi, my name is Marilyn Chapman, and I serve as the Chief Administrative Analyst in the Grants Division in Finance.
Good morning. I am Verlisa Coachman. I serve as the Administrative Services Manager in Community Development.
All these Devon Davis. Okay. All right. So, Madam President, this is a squad and council.
Well, thank you all very much. Let's give them a big hand clap, everyone. Of course, it is my pleasure to always have to my right Councilor Pro Tem Smitherman. We are sisters in Greekdom and members of the Divine Nine as well. So it's a pleasure to serve with you, and it's a pleasure to work with each of you in your respective roles here at City Hall. So thank you. I wish you all a great Sisterhood Month, and keep the job, keep up the good work. Counselors, we have some of the Divine ladies that are supporting us there in each of your offices, so kudos to them as well. Thank you.
Also, we have a community service project. If you guys have a flyer, if you could encourage your staff to do it, it's just have a gently used handbag or a purse and fill it with toiletries so we can give it to the homeless, correct? Pathways.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. And thank you. And the deadline is Monday. Thank you.
And Councilor Tate did want to say.
Congratulations, ladies. President Pro Tem, are you guys accepting clothing items as well? Just toiletries? Okay. Because I do have a lot of clothes that I would like to give away.
So maybe that's something the City Council can do, maybe.
As our own little
Council
service
project.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam President and Council, that concludes the Mayor's report. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor Woodfin. Wait a minute. Pro Tem has something. That's okay.
I have a couple of issues I need help with. I need a couple of issues I need help with. So I have an abandoned house. It's 1531 14th Avenue South. It's abandoned, filthy, and it's really falling in. But the reason I'm asking you for it, and also so the person can hear, is that we sent it to condemnation, it didn't qualify. We sent it to housing, and housing told us there's nothing they can do, which is very concerning. And the bad part about it is Attorney King is not tax delinquent, so the person is paying the taxes on it. So I guess the next step, what's the next step then?
1531.
14th Avenue South. I think that's 5 Point South.
35211.
352, 03 maybe? Oh, 35233. That's 5 Point South.
All right, let me get you an answer.
And then the sidewalk in front of 1836 Princeton Court Southwest.
1836?
Princeton Court Southwest, that's in Oakwood Place. There is a tree growing through the sidewalk. And and we have reported this to 311. It was reported on January 31st. But the problem is they want to remove the tree. And what's probably going to happen with this, we can put cement around it, everything, but it's still going to tear up the sidewalk, and, trees ruin people's property. So I'm just asking for consideration to remove the tree, because a lot of constituents on that street have been complaining about it individually, and it's very unsafe for people.
Yes, ma'am.
And then the last one is, I'm probably not the only counselor, code enforcement. I know you guys are working to revamp it, but my neighborhood officers have been getting on me because they've been seeing, I'm not saying this is true, a lack of their presence. And with the citations, they don't really feel like code enforcement is doing enough. So if there's something, I don't know, if you could just help us out with something, just with involving that.
Yeah, they wouldn't, but you would. So I think what we can do is just email you what they do every 30 days, which I imagine in District 6 is a lot of code enforcement engagement.
Yeah. But I guess that's just kind of a broad issue. I just think we just need help with code enforcement, maybe talking to environmental court about it to see maybe where's the breakdown in the citations and everything. So thank you. That's all.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I be added to that 30-day email?
All 9 of you, Madam President.
Thank you. We'll all look forward to getting that information. Thank you very much. Anything else? Good. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, you're welcome.
At this time, Mr. Clerk, do we have any announcements of board and agency expirations for April?
Yes, ma'am. We have a vacancy with the Downtown Redevelopment Authority. This is Mr. David Fleming. Term expires April the 8th, 2023. It's a 6-year term, and it is under the Economic Development and Tourism Committee.
Thank you very much. At this time, Mr. Clerk, would you read the items that are considered for consent?
Okay. Start on page 2 with items. Give me a minute. I'm going to have to go kind of slow here, Madam President, because I'm by myself. So.
Yes, sir. We're good.
All right. Got item 1, 2, 3, and 4 on consent. Got item number 7 on consent on page 3. Page 4, we have items 9 and 10 on consent. Page 5, we have items 12, 13, 14 on consent. Page 6, we have items 15, 16, 17, and please note that item 18 has been requested to be withdrawn by PEP. Page 7, we have items 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23 on consent. Page 8, we have items 24, 25, 26, 27, 20, and 28 on consent. Page 9, we have items 29, 30, 31, 32, and 33 on consent. On page 10, we have items 34, 35, 36, 37, and 38 on consent. Page 11, we have items 39, 40, 41, and 42 on consent. Page 12, we have items 43, 44, 45, and 46 on consent. Page 13, we have items 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, and 52 on consent. And page 14, we have items 53 and 54 on consent. That concludes the consent agenda.
Thank you. Councilors, are there any items that you would like to add or remove from consent? Dr. O'Quinn?
Yes, on trying to get back to it. Page 2, item number 3. I'd like to remove that from consent.
All right, that's item number 2 on page 3. I'm sorry, give me again. I think I got a number.
Page 2, item number 3.
Page 2, item number 3. The request is removed from consent. The other items? Councilor Woods?
9 and 10.
Councilors, that's items 9 and 10 on page 4. The request is to remove from consent. Items 9 and 10 on page 4. Any other items?
Madam President, can we add item 11 to consent?
That's the request to add item 11 on page 5 to consent. Thank you. Funding source, Madam Administrator.
It is, for 11.
You do. I said you do.
Okay, 11 should be Councilor, I'll just go name the councilors: Woods, Moore, Quinn, Smitherman, Clark, Tate, and President Alexander for the funding sources, the GL accounts, 4210, 4240, 4250, 4260, 4280, 4290, and 4200.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It would be nice if we could make sure that those were on our agenda so that we don't have to ask and don't have to bother somebody to look things up.
Thank you, Councilor. Any other items? So that one is added to consent. Any other items? All right. All items designated as consent are routine and non-controversial and will be approved by one motion. No separate discussion of these items will be permitted unless a council member, the mayor, or citizen interested in a public hearing so requests. If so, such items will revert to its normal place on the agenda order of business. All matters of permanent operation will be read. All other matters will be announced by reading the item number only. All public hearings will be announced. If I can entertain a motion and second for approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, so it sounds like I heard Council
Williams approved and Smitherman second.
All right.
How do I get to this thing?
Voting should be open. Councilors Moore, Woods, President Alexander.
Mine's on the way, but yes.
It's okay. Councilor Woods. All right, that vote should be up.
All right, thank you. Those items that were listed as consent have been approved. If you were here for any of those items, they have been approved, and we'll continue with the rest of our agenda. I hope you have a great day. Mr. Clerk, next item.
First item should be item number 3, which is on page 2, a resolution relative to the application of ESQ Birmingham LLC for a restaurant retail liquor license to be used at Emi Square Pizza, 300 Summit Boulevard, Suite 104, Birmingham, New York. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
All right, thank you. This item had been listed as consent, and it was for the application of a restaurant retail liquor license at Emi Square Pizza. It had been recommended by the Public Safety Committee. Dr. Quinn, you asked for this item to be pulled.
Yes.
That's okay.
Yes, I just noted that we have individual that signed up on our public speakers list who listed this item as something that she wanted to speak to. So this would be the appropriate time to do that.
My name is Amanda Schaffner, and I represent.
Excuse me, ma'am. Speaking in.
My name is Amanda Schaffner, and I represent Emmy Squared Pizza. I thought I was just signing in for the meeting, but I appreciate your consideration.
All right, thank you. We'll continue on with the item then. Any questions regarding this item? We're ready for the vote.
Give me a second. That gremlin is over here. Okay. Council President Alexander.
I'm sorry.
All right, that vote should show.
All right, thank you. That item passes. Thank you very much.
All right.
Next item.
Looks like we're going to item 5. A resolution relative to the application of S&A Investment, LLC, for a lounge retail liquor class 2 license to be used at Late Rollers Package Store, 1101 3rd Avenue West, Suite C, Birmingham, and hearing of all interested parties. Motion.
All right, I believe there's a request to delay this item. Councilor Tate.
Yes, ma'am, Madam President. We received a call prior to council meeting that the applicant had to go out of town on an emergency, so we're requesting a 2-week delay on the item.
All right, second.
I'm sorry, do you
re-advertise it?
Let me ask for the city attorney, if we delay this, does it have to be a re-advertisement? Or but there isn't one for this, since it's a liquor license.
Proper notification,
okay.
So the date
all right.
specified.
Your attorney, King.
All right, so the request is to delay this item for 2 weeks. Yes, Madam Pro Tem.
So what happens if she keeps not showing up? Because this is the 3rd time she hasn't shown up for a public hearing.
Attorney King.
I'll get with Councilor Tate to further discuss.
Thank you. Because I don't think it's fair to keep, delaying this, and we need to vote on it.
Thank you. All right, so Mr. Clerk, we just want to delay it. Okay. So we're voting to delay this item for 2 weeks.
Rabbit. All right, vote should be up.
All right, thank you. Item 5 has been delayed for 2 weeks. Next item.
Should be item 6. It's on page 3. An ordinance approving and authorizing the mayor to execute for is the act of said city the following documents: a termination of redevelopment agreement under which a redevelopment agreement with the Alabama Trust for Historic Preservation dated July 19, 2011 concerning the proposed redevelopment of Powell School by Alabama Trust for Historic Preservation will be terminated. 2. Termination of deed restrictions under which certain deed restrictions imposed by the city on the Powell School property in connection with redevelopment agreement will be terminated. 3. A termination of deed restrictions to terminate certain restrictions contained in the original deed of the property to the city. And 4. A revocation of limited power of attorney which granted rights to the city to enforce the terms of the redevelopment agreement and deed restrictions and any other documents required to facilitate the transactions authorized herein, all of which documents are being terminated to enable a proposed new development of the Powell School property. And this item was held over, so just a motion on the item.
Move the item.
All right, thank you. Councilors, what is before us at this time is an ordinance approving and authorizing the mayor to execute the following documents regarding redevelopment agreement with the Alabama Trust for Historic Preservation at Powell School. I'll call up IEO or Mayor. I'll let you lead this one as far as what is coming before us.
Madam President, I got some thoughts, but I was wondering, were there actual questions? I know Ms. Abbott was up pretty late last night, and sent some in to us. We saw them this morning. But related to Powell School, I'm looking for a note. In the case of Powell School, Madam President and Council, I think all of us would agree that the challenge has been balancing the historic preservation while also attempting to remove blight and or redevelop this property. If my math or timeline history is correct, I think this contractual relationship predates me. It's been in existence at least 11 years. And I know there have been several attempts, again, outside of this administration, but I think there's been an attempt within this administration as well to save Powell School. Now, what you have before you is the city of Birmingham removing itself from this process via your vote today. I imagine there's some costs the city cannot answer. I think one of those questions would be rising construction costs, and in the post-pandemic world, what is financially, economically feasible as it relates to the ability to rehab what exists in its current state. But the city of Birmingham's interest, I believe, must be in preserving what we can. But when I say we, that would be up to the developer, not the city of Birmingham. What they have put in writing to the city is that they will seek no further inducement from the city and that they will honor the history of Powell as much as they can. And so with that, I actually yield as it relates to any other questions to the developer. So I'll turn it back to you, Council.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilors, we do have in front of us a series of questions that were presented to administration, so we'll just have any other questions that you may have. I'll start with you, Ms. Abbott, since you had the
Since I'm
first
interested, yes. Well, I'm very interested in historic preservation, and when I saw this, I was aghast. I thought, well, clearly we've given up on preserving Powell School. It's clear from the answers to the questions I sent in that the intent is to take all the restrictions off and allow it to be demolished. I read the glowing articles by Pat Byington and Mark Kelly, and I thought, what planet are these guys on? Because it just seems fairly clear to me that the intent is to let it go. You don't remove all the restrictions if you don't intend to allow it to be demolished. And, to preserve some pieces of it in homage to the historic significance just does not, it doesn't seem right to me. I want to see what project is going to be built. This sounds speculative as heck to me. We don't have anything to look at. It was on our agenda last week, and we were provided zero information except for the ordinances. Zero about what had been going on in the background while the rest of us were missing in action for one reason or another. So now with these, the first bunch of questions I asked, we know who the developer is now, but we still don't know what the project is. What are they going to build? Why would we give away property for free to someone who's not preserving the historic building? Does that make any sense? Just ask yourself, why would we give away property for free if the preservation of the building is not the reason? Free. Free. Our property. City-owned property. Why would we just give it away? Now, it would make sense if we said, we'll give it to you if you preserve the building. And if you don't preserve the building, you pay us the appraised price, which, by the way, the city didn't bother to get an appraisal. We have no appraisal. All we have is the tax assessor's view of what the property is worth, which is $1.5 million. So why would you give away something of value, of a lot of value, when the developers will not be required to preserve the building? This is not logical to me. It might be logical to other people. So I want to see the project that's being proposed. If we know the cost of saving the building is $20 million, how much is the construction project going to be valued at? What are we building? Who's going to occupy what's being built? Do we have a cost estimate for redeveloping the site? You know, I mean, if a developer wants it, surely he or she is going to develop something on it. What's the cost? Where's the design? What's the use of the property after they do this? You know, I have heard that there have been 3 contracts already with this same group for the property, but somehow the trust never consummated it. The neighborhood association hasn't even been consulted or informed, is my understanding. No one's appeared before them to tell them what's going on.
Well, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I think Ms. Abbott has been here 20 years.
22.
22. Excuse me, sir.
Not yet.
Gladly have a seat. Ms. Abbott has been here 22 years. This current agreement hasn't existed literally half of it, 11. I've been here 5. I'll start with the logic piece first. It doesn't make logical sense to her. What also doesn't make logical sense for it to sit in its current form. That is clear blight. I would say the other thing is, per OCA, the restrictions were contemplated and do not preclude it from happening, what she said as it relates to preservation. The question does come down to it again, a question the city cannot answer: can it be preserved? And if it can, what's the cost? We've been here before with the McCormick building, so we're not strangers to this. A building that's set vacant and dilapidated for an extreme amount of time. And then it gets to a point where a developer wants to preserve the building. The question is, can they preserve the building? It's not a matter of people don't want to preserve it. I think the other thing is this whole notion of the city not getting an appraisal. Well, to be clear in your document that you have, I think that's understandable, but at the same time, the developers can't come back and ask the city for anything. We're not going to close any funding gaps. They can't seek any financial requests. Whatever they want to do, whether it's they have the cost to preserve it or it's cost prohibitive and they can't preserve it, again, the answer, I do not know. Whatever they decide, whatever their cost is, the 10 of us will not engage. What is required, I think at this point, and spending 11 of your 22 years where this building has looked like this, some decision has to be made, but it won't necessarily include the city at this point because we've been at the table for 11 years and nothing has happened. And I believe there's a lot more that can be said, Madam President and Council, but I'm not even sure if you call this gentleman up or who you want to respond as it relates to the developer.
No, sir, not at this time. Thank you. We'll continue with the questions by the councilors. Councilor Clark.
Okay, well, I didn't finish my questions. The mayor interrupted me, and you allowed him to.
I'm sorry.
I apologize, Ms. Abbott.
I apologize as well. I thought you were at the end of it.
And I don't mean to be rude. I am a staunch historic preservationist, and I realize there are very few of us that are that interested in historic preservation, so I get pretty, it's like when people want to cut down perfectly good trees. I still get upset. So y'all forgive me for that. But I want to know if we cannot, modify this approach of giving away the property for free and say, well, we'll give it to you for free if you preserve the building, and if you don't, you're going to pay for it. Because why should we give anything away for free? My sidewalks need fixing. So, it seems to me that there should be some kind of carrot in here. If we've taken away every single restriction we've got off the property, and we say, here it is for free, and you can do as you darn well please with it. That doesn't seem right. Does that seem right to anybody? I mean, it just does not. So it seems right to you.
No, I think you are not speaking factually to what's happening. If you read the document, we aren't giving anything away. We're releasing our interests in an already negotiated agreement. How much are we receiving for our property? There was a negotiated agreement 11 years ago that I don't have the detail memorized.
That was the trust.
Yes.
We gave it to the trust so they would find someone to preserve the building.
And after 11 years, they have not.
That's true. That's terrible.
Yes. Yes, it is.
But why?
But your isolated argument.
I'm going to answer your question, please, ma'am.
Madam President, Ms. Abbott, I understand your passion. I understand that there's a single focus on historic preservation. I don't think anybody's going to resist you on that. We're going to meet you at that moment. But in the position we are, the city of Birmingham is only releasing itself from the agreement after 11 years of no movement. What do you want? You want us to keep the property?
No, I want us to put out an RFP and see if anyone wants to preserve the building, make a proposal.
The city of Birmingham administration doesn't agree with we don't agree with that suggestion.
Well, obviously, but that's what I want because, see, I remember when Southern Research Institute promised us if we let them have Quinlan Castle that they would preserve it and reuse it.
What year
and
was that?
where Quinlan Castle is now? It's at the dump.
What year was that, Ms. Abbott?
I don't know what year it was.
Was it the 80s? Was it the 80s?
But they deceived us.
Was it the 80s, the 90s?
They said they would preserve it, and because we didn't put it in our contract when we sold them the property, then the bulldozers came, and there was nothing we could do.
Ms. Abbott, what would you have if a developer tells you it's cost prohibitive to preserve the building as it currently is today, March 7 of 2023?
Well, we've got the $20 million estimate right here that they've done, and so they've said it's going to cost $20 million in all likelihood, but they're getting the property for free. Now, if you're going to be able to redevelop the property for a mere $20 million, that's a pretty darn good deal.
Yes. The city's interest, let me tell you what the city's interest is. We agree with the preservation. But we also are balancing that with removing blight. And if it can't be preserved, and if there's not going to be a request for a proposal, then what is your backup request? Do you want the blight? Do you want it to sit like that another 11 years?
My backup request is that I'd like to hear from the developers what they're doing.
Madam President, I yield.
If they're here.
I yield the floor.
Yield to allow the
absolutely.
Developers. All right, thank you. Councilors, we still have questions coming from the councilors. Do you want to have the questions, or would you all like to hear the developer at this point? Okay. Councilor Williams.
My request was to hear from, I don't know who this is, but the gentleman that was going to presumably answer questions.
Let's be sure this gentleman is the one to answer those questions. So, are you a developer? Are you a part of this? Okay, sir, give me a chance.
Before we get to that.
Councilor Clark. Councilor Clark.
I thought I was next.
You are.
I'm not sure. Okay. Well, and I hear both points, and I relate to both points. I feel like it has been sitting and kind of stuck and unfortunately damaged by fire. That was like the worst thing that could happen on the way to preservation. I think it is a very historically significant structure that we should go to any length we can go to preserve. And, you know, I'm glad there's some capable people interested in trying to move it forward, and I think it's up to this body to put conditions in place to try to achieve our goals, you know, once we determine what those are. But I do remember the Thomas School was in danger of being demolished, and it had similar historical significance, not quite the same, but you know, this council challenged the developer to let us, I mean, because I think to get a demolition permit, you have to prove that there's a financial hardship. So we challenged that developer. It was Jimmy Hale that wanted to tear it down and relocate there, to bring back, you know, sort of the details of saving versus not saving, and let this council have the opportunity to pay that differential. I know that's different from what the mayor is saying, like we won't have any other financial involvement, but if it's important, it's important. And maybe we should give ourselves the opportunity to invest in the preservation and offsetting, you know, the feasibility gap that it would present. The other thing is, I drove by the Hardwick and it blew my mind. Have y'all seen that facade just standing there like it's hanging in thin air? And, you know, so there is a historic preservation tax credit that could offset some of the financial hardship of preserving. You know, when I see the named developers here, I do know Harbert Realty, Stuart Perry, and then Sloss Real Estate. You know, you mentioned you're a staunch preservationist. I know Kathy Sloss Crenshaw to be a staunch preservationist. And so that gives me a little hope that maybe there's, you know, an effort still to preserve the building. But I do think that in exchange for releasing our interest, we should have another chance to see some more information, some demonstration of hardship, or, you know, what it costs to do one thing, what it costs to do the other thing, and then we decide at a later point if we're willing to close the gap to preserve the facility. That's just my thought.
Thank you, Councilor Clark. Dr. O'Quinn.
Yes, so I need to clarify some facts here. So what's before us today is termination of a redevelopment agreement that dates back to, I think, 2011, 2012. Anyway, the city of Birmingham does not own this property. The city of Birmingham does not own this property. The title is held by the Alabama Trust for Historic Preservation. The city does, under the redevelopment agreement, have a clawback in that agreement that would allow it to repossess the property. However, there's even another entity here that has a claim to the property, and that is Barber Properties. Yeah, so the history of the property is that the Ealaton Land Company donated the property in 1878 for use as a public school. And when they made that transaction, they put a covenant on the property that it should remain as a school for, you know, its use, and if ever it was not used for a school, that it would go back to Ealaton Land Company, which is now known as Barber Properties. So as part of this agreement, as part of this transaction, it's my understanding that Barber is also relinquishing its rights its claim to the property. But the basic fact is what's before us today is terminating the redevelopment agreement with Alabama Trust for Historic Preservation, because Alabama Trust for Historic Preservation owns the property.
Correct.
Thank you, Dr. O'Quinn. Councilor Williams, did you ask to be?
Yeah, I'm still want to hear from the developer. We're talking amongst ourselves and hadn't even heard from the developer yet. It's kind of crazy to me.
I appreciate you feeling it's crazy, but I want to allow the councilors to have an opportunity to still ask questions. If no one else has a question, then we will allow the developer. Mayor Woodfin, who would you like to present this as far as the developer, or who's representing the developer?
Madam President, at this time, if it's okay with you and the council, would like Cornell Wesley, as well as if Griff Lassiter is in the room, to come up and introduce whoever needs to be introduced. I will say this too. I think it's important, based on some. I have a high appreciation for Dr. Darrell O'Quinn stating some factual information that's relevant to this conversation, because although it's emotionally charged, I think it's incumbent upon us to deal with the facts at hand. So I do want Cornell Wesley to share a few more of those important facts related to this before there's a presentation.
Yes. So just to reiterate what
Mr. Wesley,
pardon me, Cornell Wesley, and I proudly serve as the Director for the Office of Innovation and Economic Opportunity. I want to reiterate what Councilman O'Quinn stated. It's in fact, we are not the owner of the property. We are essentially releasing our interest in it so that a transaction can take place and that development and or reimagining the site can move forward. And again, as currently written, there is no language in it that would have prevented demolition for the last 11 years as currently. So I want to make certain we understand that whatever the goal was, it could have been accomplished for the last 11 years, whether that was redevelopment 11 years or recruitment efforts, which in my 2 years in this role, I have been working tirelessly to try to get that site redeveloped. And unfortunately, it just didn't pencil. And for a myriad of different reasons. Pre-pandemic costs were what they were. Post-pandemic costs are 20-30% higher. So even with a thin margin of trying to accomplish reimagining Powell pre-pandemic, it has put an enormous strain in it in a post-pandemic economy. So I want to bring up the next voice from Harbor Realty. You've wanted to hear from the development team, Mr. Williams here. Thank you, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm David Williams, President of Harbor Realty Services. My firm, along with our partners, Merrill Stewart of Stewart Perry and Kathy Sloss of Sloss Realty, have the Powell School under contract for purchase. We've had the school under contract for approximately 2 years. We've been working on the project for over 3 years. We've spent a significant amount of money trying to study the property, alternative uses, and trying to figure out how to preserve it. Our number one priority and reason to get involved with the project was to preserve Powell School. All our firms, as one of the council persons said, have been intimately involved with historic preservation across the city for a number of years. We've all done successful projects. And so, again, our emphasis and our goal is to preserve Powell School. We're faced with a lot of headwinds in the last 2 years. Cost, the condition of the school is really, really poor. And we haven't been able to find a tenant or a user for the school. Our current estimation, as it's been said, is about $20 million to preserve it. For us to preserve it, we need a tenant, a user, or a buyer of the property to occupy it. To date, we have not found that person or that company or that firm or that organization. We've had a number of attempts with different organizations to occupy the Powell School, and we have a current conversation going on with a tenant. But we have a long way to go, and time is running out on the school. It's in very, very poor condition. As an indication of that, we have a hard time getting consultants, engineers, architects to go into the property. It is unsafe. Part of the building has collapsed, and no one would go on the second floor, and many of the consultants won't even go on the first floor. It is in very dire condition. So we are asking for the city to step away from the building so we can put the financial capital behind it to try to make it, to preserve it through a historic tax credit program. I make no promises. I don't know if we can do it. We probably won't be able to do it. But if we can't, we have committed that we will repurpose the building in some way to preserve and honor the history and the importance of that building to the city. And that may mean if we can't preserve the entire building, maybe we can preserve a facade. Maybe we can preserve all the bricks or some of the building components and use it for the next purpose. But please know that we've been working for 2 years tirelessly to try to preserve it, and we're at a point where we have to do something or it's just not going to survive. But again, if it doesn't survive, we will repurpose it with using some of the components that are there today. And I'm pleased to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Councilor Williams?
No, thank you, Mr. Williams. That brought a great deal of clarity. Thank you.
Are there any questions? I don't have any speakers that are asked for questions. Thank you, sir. All right, councilors, we've had the presentation. We've heard from IEO as well as the mayor regarding this item. And if there are no other questions, we're ready for the vote.
Well, Madam President, now, Councilor Clark, I thought, had a good idea, and I'm glad she's such a clear-thinking person, that we should, if we're going to proceed in this manner, that we should...
Councilor Clark did not make that as a alternative motion for this item, and so we are in the middle of the vote, and we're considering this item with the motions that were made.
Okay.
Everyone voted?
Clark and Moore.
So can we restate the motion?
We're in the middle of the
Okay,
vote.
so we would have to, okay.
All right, that vote should be up.
All right. That item passes. Thank you. Next item.
Should be item 8. Item 8 is actually being reworded, so let me read the new language. A resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Erskine Hawkins Cedar Junction Park Association Incorporated, under which the city will provide $12,000 in addition to in-kind services and assistance to Tuxedo Junction to host its function at the Junction Music Festival, Tuxedo Park, Birmingham, on or around June the 29th, 2023. The city's incentives will assist the police, fire, parking, printing, monetary, and other such services consistent with hosting the festival. Motion, please.
All right, councilors, this item is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute agreement with the Erskine Hawkins Tuxedo Junction Park. Are there any questions about this item?
Madam
Yes,
President.
Councilor Clark.
I'd like to recommend a slight amendment to the language so that it reads, under which the city will provide $12,000 in addition to in-kind services. Is that, you just read it that way? Okay, sorry, I was distracted. No further comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions regarding this item? We're ready for the vote.
It's been the funding source. It's not
that's
listed.
correct. You did.
I have that.
Go ahead, Mr. Clerk.
Could we print it on our agendas when we get them?
If we receive it, we'll print it. If we receive the information, we'll print it on the agenda. The funding source is 4280 4.542-1.
Thank you. We're ready for the vote.
Councilor O'Quinn. All right, that vote should be up.
All right, thank you. That item passes. Next item.
Okay, we're going to item 9. A resolution pending the completion of all federal requirements authorizing the mayor to submit to the Department of Housing and Urban Development on or before March 31st, 2023, 1, a proposed home ARP allocation plan, 2, a signed standard form 424, 3, signed certifications or other documents as may be required, and 4, to act as the authorized correspondent of the city. Motion, please.
Second. All right, thank you. Councilor Woods, you asked if it's before on consent.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. Was just interested in the vision and just thought process behind this allocation of the actual funds.
Madam President?
Chief.
Yes, ma'am. Dr. Megan Venable Thomas and her senior deputy Corey Stallworth should be right outside, and they'll come in and address that. Councilor Woods.
I see Dr. Thomas now. Thank you.
Good morning, Council. Megan Venable Thomas. I serve as the Director of Community Development. I didn't hear the question.
Yes,
but
Councilor Woods had a question regarding just the vision and where you're going in direction. Is that correct, Councilor? So if you just give us more information about that.
Okay, and I do have a presentation if you want to see the presentation, or I can just speak to the presentation, which has a little bit more information about the overall vision or where it came from as far as HUD, as it relates to HUD, if that would be helpful. Okay.
Which again, we did have this presentation during Committee of the Whole. So did you just need a full presentation on this, Councilor Woods? I don't know if you were present.
Yeah, I guess what I'm looking for is just the thought process and the overall vision behind like the allocations and how they were made, and zoomed out a little bit.
Yeah, of course. So the Home ARP program was part of a HUD response during COVID to specifically focus on transitional housing for homeless, particularly non-congregate units, so not just emergency shelter, but individual units to provide for homeless provision, as well as other services that directly address folks experiencing homelessness. And so if you go to slide 4, you can see there we've been allocated $5 million so that we can do this kind of homeless service provision. This is for the overall program, excuse me. So slide 4 talks about what Congress has appropriated. They've done $5 billion across the nation for this particular program. And we've been allocated $5 million to think about what we would want to do with that to specifically address homelessness. There are some eligible activities that I spoke a little bit to, and it has to be spent by 2030. And so if you go to slide 6, you can see the eligible activities are for the production or preservation of affordable rental housing, tenant-based rental assistance, supportive services, homeless prevention services, and housing counseling, as well as the purchase and development of non-congregate shelter. And if you go to 7, you can see who our qualifying populations are. So it is homeless, at risk of homelessness, fleeing or attempting to flee, domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, stalking, or human trafficking, and then other populations, families requiring services or housing assistance to prevent homelessness, and those who are at great risk of housing instability. So this is important because it is an expansion of HUD's definition of who is included in folks experiencing homelessness, so it really allows us a lot more flexibility to whom we can use this money for. And so we went through a significant consultation process of surveying. We got out and talked to folks. We had a transition team, the mayor's transition team on homelessness and housing, and we really gathered a lot of information from our service providers as well as folks experiencing homelessness to understand how we would want to allocate this money. So if you go to slide 9, you can see the buckets, which are the buckets that are required for this that are eligible for this particular grant around creating affordable housing, preserving rental assistance, non-congregate shelter, as well as tenant-based rental support. And so if you go to the next slide, you can see the breakdown of the allocation, which we've used based on the information that we gathered through this process, as well as the cost that it takes to do some of these. So you'll see that the estimates that we've put here around how we kind of sparse this out is really based on what people wanted to see, as well as how much those things cost to actually do and do well. So for supportive services, we have $200,000. For acquisition and development of non-congregate shelters, again, not emergency, but individual units, we put aside $3 million. For tenant-based rental assistance, we put aside $500,000. For the development of affordable rental housing, we have $1 million. For nonprofit operating, we have $374,000, and then for the admin and planning, we have $700,000, which gets us to that $5 million allocation. We can change this after we get approved if we decide that things cost more or less based on what the actual costs are of some of these things that we'll put forward before you all again. But this is really just our high-level plan, which we have to submit to HUD in order to draw down these funds.
Okay, so I think that gets me closer to where I'm trying to get. So basically, this is more so buckets and not
That's right.
concrete and what we're going to do.
That's right.
Okay. All right, I think we're in a better place.
Thank you, Councilor Woods. I don't see any requests for any additional questions. Thank you, Dr. Thomas.
Thank you.
We're ready for the vote, Mr. Clerk.
Oh, I'm sorry. I keep changing your vote. I'm like, this clock is not here. I know you were like, what's going on?
Can I see the back of that?
Okay, she's absent. Okay, Councilmember Abbott. All right, that first. Yeah.
All right, thank you, councilors. Item number 9 passes. Next item.
Item number 10, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute for and is act of said city a project funding agreement with Next Tech LLC, under which Next Tech will undertake a project to redevelop and rehabilitate the approximately 65,000 square foot Edwards Motor Company building located at 1531 3rd Avenue North, which will be leased for use as flexible workspace and collaboration areas for startup businesses graduating from the Innovation Depot. And the city will provide incentives in support of the project to be paid in 5 annual installments of $400,000, each provided certain leasing milestones set forth in the project funding agreement are met for a total incentive of up to $2 million, with the first such payment to be from CSLFR funds. Motion, please.
Move the item.
All right, councilors, this item is a funding agreement with Next Tech LLC for some rehabilitation of the former Sticks and Stuff building. Councilor Wood, you requested this to be pulled.
Yeah, interested in what's the current status of that site, that project currently, and then what's the kind of timetable of moving into what's being proposed today?
Madam President, to Councilor Wood's question, Cornell Wesley of the Department of Innovation and Economic Opportunity will provide an answer related to an update on the old Sticks and Stuff building, which has a new name. So come on up, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Again, my name is Cornell Wesley, proudly serve as the Director for the Office of Innovation and Economic Opportunity. Councilman Woods, this project is bigger than Next Tech. It's really about the Northwest Quadrant Plan and the Switch District, and this is the first key project that is birthed out of that plan. So what this does is it takes a blighted, neglected building in our central business district and turns it into a rehabilitated location for startup businesses graduating out of Innovation Depot. As we have a burgeoning tech sector, it is important that we have the resources and the sites ready to welcome them in and retain them here. And so the city's investment of $400,000 a year for 5 years provides significant assistance as the project called for major reconstruction to make the structure usable, The city is protected by clawbacks. If you want those further illuminated, we have Mr. Stanley here who can cover that. The project forecasts approximately $300,000 annually in revenue from occupational tax, sales tax, and use tax, in addition to increased property tax and business license revenue. Key point, my favorite piece, 311 jobs are projected over 7 years. So this is a great catalytic investment in the Civil Rights District and what we're branding as evidence of the Northwest Quadrant Plan. This is the first key project for it. You have some illustrations behind us. Griffin Lassiter can give you some pictures, some stimuli there. This is getting ready to be open. Mike Moran has done an amazing job with the renovation of this site. I can tell you we eagerly are excited to come back before this council about an entity that we've been successful in recruiting to go in said site to bring more jobs to Birmingham. So this is a great project, and we emphatically endorse and support it.
Yeah, that's kind of thing, because it looked like it was pretty close to being done just in passing by, so they're about at completion, yes. So that's good. And I
also want to add, the public space is a byproduct of our investment there, and so the city and all of its citizens will be able to utilize what we would call a pocket amphitheater for their any activity.
Thank you very much. I do have some other councilors that have requested to speak. Dr. O'Quinn.
Yes, I just want to sincerely thank you, Mr. Wesley, for helping to make this project happen. That is definitely not lost on me. I think your predecessor actually deserves some credit too.
Yes.
But I also want to thank my colleagues here on the City Council because there was a time when this project was not going this direction, and the council acted to prevent that from happening. And I think that the product that we have today is definitely 1,000 times better than the direction it was headed.
Yes, sir.
And will significantly contribute to that Northwest Quadrant and, a very significant historic area of the city of Birmingham that deserves this type of investment. So, again, thank you. I know there were a lot of people involved. Notably, the board of directors at Innovation Depot. I think they, deserve a lot of credit too. I think this is a fantastic result, and just super happy to see, a property that sat abandoned and blighted for many, many years, have a new lease on life and contributing in a big way to the economic development of the city of Birmingham. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Glenn. Councilor Clark.
So just thank you, Madam President, but just to continue the accolades, I'm really proud of this, and I do feel like Urban Impact had a little bit of advocacy, REV, some of the organizations that I've been affiliated with. So this has been a long time coming. It's beautiful. I do like that it's going to support the enterprise development ecosystem through the association with Innovation Depot. And you've answered one of my questions. It's not limited. The tendency is not limited to graduates of Innovation Depot.
That's correct.
But it does seem like it's somewhat of a speculative development, right? I mean, it doesn't have anchor tenants, or does it? Already identified. I'm saying that to say, it's pretty amazing that someone would do this without a lot of, tenants lined up and guarantees. So I want to applaud Mike Moran for just what he's been doing in downtown, because, the building across the street, it's really, it's commendable to me that he would invest his money this way and take a chance to give us this sort of asset to try to retain these businesses in Birmingham. So I'm really excited about it, and it's beautiful. My question is, if we're going to pay the first installment out of ARPA, will the revenue generated from the project be the funding source for the additional payments, or do we need to?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Madam President. Council Clark, to your point, we'll probably going forward, and I raised this question. So the first payment would be ARPA. But going forward, we'll just put an incentive line item within the general fund budget that will pay the offsetting years that are not ARPA-related dollars. So it would just be funded strictly out of the general fund. And that's our hope, is that the revenue from this development would kind of yield to offset that yes.
Okay, but in our projections, do we think that the revenue yield is going to exceed?
Yeah, based off of just the taxes and the occupational tax that we kind of forecast for the future of that project, it should offset.
Okay, but the future payments won't be limited by what it actually generates. We will have to budget.
We will have to budget for it regardless, yes.
Okay. I need somebody else to kind of tell me, can we bind future budgets with the contract that we approved today without identifying a funding source now? I just want to know.
We have in the past with other future agreements that once the council approves an item of this nature, we go ahead and budget it for future years.
Basically approving future year's budget in a little bit of it. Okay.
Thank you, Councilor Clark. Thank you so much, Mr. Wesley. And we don't have any further questions. We're ready for the vote. Thank you.
Councilor Clark.
All right, thank you. Item number 10 passes. Are there any other items left on the agenda, Mr. Clerk? 11. It was consented. Yes. All right, thank you very much. Councilors, at this time, we'll entertain comments or any updates from your districts. And Councilor Clark, are you prepared to start first? Thank you. Sure.
Thank you, Madam President. We do have a couple of neighborhood meetings tonight. And I see I didn't write them down, but it's Fairview and anyway, I don't know what they are. So please join us along with the Black Warrior Riverkeeper this coming Saturday as we take the Be Litter Free campaign to the historic Smithfield community. We'll meet on March 11th at Lot F of Legion Field at 9:30 a.m. and move out into the Graymont and College Hills neighborhoods. And this is rescheduled from a rained out cleanup last month. So again, registration starts at 9:30 with the cleanup starting at 10. All cleaning supplies are provided, so just show up to lend a hand. Also, seniors who are 65 and older who have owned their homes for at least 5 years have until April 30th to opt in for an exemption that will essentially freeze your property taxes at the current level. And this is not an income-based exemption. You must apply in person at the Jefferson County Tax Assessor's Office. And I just think this is critically important. And, as neighborhoods revitalize and property values go up, so many of our seniors may be on fixed income, or I know my property taxes doubled last year. And, it was hard for me to adjust to that. So this is something new that was approved through a constitutional amendment in the last election. So we need to get the word out to all our constituents. So they sent us some forms that we can pass out in the neighborhood association meetings. Also, the mayor talked about Women in Construction Week. There's an 8th annual Power Up event. It's a mother and daughter thing. It's happening tonight at the Alabama Workforce Training Center, and I believe it's a demonstration of power tools, teaching mothers and daughters how to use power tools. And I know some of my constituents have said they need to follow their husbands around the house to make sure they know how to make repairs, if something happens to the husband. So this is an opportunity to get some hands-on skills. There'll be refreshments, door prizes, and a chance to connect with successful women. You can register at www.poweruploud.org. Anyway, we're still walking every Thursday. We meet up at the Crossplex Starbucks about 5 minutes till 8 a.m. every Thursday, weather permitting. We do about a 1.25 mile loop, and it's a great way to get moving and not have to walk alone, meet some of your neighbors, and learn more about a proposed Rail to Trails project for Western Birmingham. We have a good time, and all paces are welcome. And here's my broken record. The Birmingham Parks and Recreation Department is looking for lifeguards. Applications open January 9th and will close on May 12th. We want to have lots of pools open by Memorial Day. They're getting them all ready to open. We just need lifeguards. Just add lifeguards. So if you know people who are certified or want to become trained and certified, please have them contact Terry Sewell Harris at 205-254-2189 for more information. That concludes my remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Clark. Councilor Moore?
Yes, ma'am, Madam President. Thank you. So we have the Fairmont Neighborhood Association having their meeting tonight at 6 p.m. at Mount Carmel Baptist Church, 5110 Cheek Road. Inglenook will be having their neighborhood association on this upcoming Monday, as well as Airport Highlands and Woodlawn and Roebuck. They will take place at 6 p.m. Inglenook will take place at the Inglenook Rec Center. Airport Highlands will take place at the Brownsville Heights Community Center. Woodlawn will take place at Social Venture, and Roebuck will take place at the East Precinct. And so those are the neighborhood announcements. I just wanted to say thank you to each and every person that called, text, sent a Facebook message, all those things for the birthday. I appreciate it. And that concludes my announcement.
Thank you, Councilor Moore. Councilor Abbott.
Thank you, Madam President. The Planning and Zoning Committee meeting is tomorrow at 3:30 in the council chambers. We have openings on the Design Review Committee. The deadline for submissions of resumes is Friday, March 10th at the close of business. Neighborhood associations tonight, the Forest Park South Avondale Neighborhood Association meets at the Avondale Library at 6:30 p.m. and they always have lots of issues. Last night at the Glen Iris neighborhood meeting, we started at 6:30 and I think I got home at 9:30. It was very contentious, and it was kind of a disturbing meeting. And I know Alice Williams probably slept like a rock because she was worn out. But I just want to say, I think in the light of positiveness, I wanted to thank the city Joint Chiefs and everyone else for getting the homeless encampment cleared behind the dog park. It was growing and growing and growing. And I was at the dog park on Saturday, and I saw people walking down there, and when they realized that the encampment was gone, they turned around and went somewhere else. Of course, that probably means there's a new encampment, but we haven't had it reported to us yet, so I wanted to thank you for getting that done. And we did meet last night, in case the members of the council don't know, or maybe I'm the last one to know. We met a Corporal Adams last night, who is part of the police department's HOPE group, which is he's not part of a group. He told us he was the only one for the whole city of Birmingham. But if you haven't met him, he's exceedingly enthusiastic. course, he wished we wouldn't bother the homeless, but that isn't going to happen as long as residents are afraid of what's happening in the community. But so thank you very much for doing that. And we still have our little website for people to visit. We try to put everything we can possibly find on that website so that people can get the help they need, and that is www.bhamdistrict3.com. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Abbott. Dr. O'Quinn.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to start by thanking Councilor Smitherman for giving the council a heads up earlier this week regarding a letter that the National League of Cities has addressed to Congress, and that they are now asking municipal leaders from across the country to sign on to. The letter is specifically asking Congress to act on rail safety, and the letter was actually drafted by the Transportation Infrastructure Services Committee that I'm a member of an NLC. Birmingham automatically is a signatory to that letter by virtue of our participation in NLC. But I would encourage all of us to reach out to municipal leaders in surrounding municipalities. I mean, should be no surprise to anyone that Birmingham is a railroad town, and that all of the materials involved in incidents that we've seen around the country also pass right through the heart of downtown, and one could easily imagine that same circumstance being a risk to us as well. That being said, I should also note that the Birmingham Fire and Rescue Department is doing training for community emergency response team members. These are folks, volunteers who are embedded in the community that receive training on how to act in these types of circumstances, natural disasters, hazmat spills, all sorts of things. And so CERT members, again, are, just average folks, neighborhood residents who receive this training and get familiar with how to organize their local communities in these types of situations, and develop, plans for communicating that out, and having evacuation plans, and so encourage folks to look into that, because again, we have lots of materials that are shipped through the city on rail and trucks, so it's certainly something that we should be prepared for. In other announcements, Eastlake Neighborhood Association will meet tonight at 6 p.m. at Household of Faith Church, located at 7501 Division Avenue. As Councilor Abbott mentioned, Forest Park South Avondale also meets tonight at 6:30 at Avondale Library. Oak Ridge Park Neighborhood Association will meet next Monday at 6 p.m. Please contact my office for the meeting location. It's my understanding that I believe the church where they meet have traditionally met is undergoing some renovations, so the location may change. And also want to note that Transportation Committee meeting will happen next Monday, March 13th at 2 p.m. in the council chambers. If you have any items to submit, please contact Kimberly Phillips at kimberly.phillips@birminghamal.gov. This will be the only Transportation Committee meeting in March due to the National League of Cities happening in the latter part of the month. That conflicts with our usual schedule. So again, there will only be one Transportation Committee meeting this month. And then finally, East Lake Community is having a garden plant day. East Lake Initiative has a community garden in the East Lake community, and on March 18th from 11 to 1 p.m. They will have a plant day. The garden is located at 7531 Division Avenue. They'll have free food and T-shirts. ELI is also taking donations for water and other supplies for the day. Please contact their office at 205-543-9825 for additional information. Thank you, and that concludes my announcements.
Thank you. Councilor Wood.
Thank you, Madam President. A few things real quick. The Bridlewood Neighborhood Association is resuming their meetings. They're going to meet today at East Pinson Valley Rec Center at 6 p.m. So if you're in the Bridlewood neighborhood, definitely get back out and get involved. Also, March 18th will be the District 1 Day of Service. It's going to be at 9 a.m. It's going to be several locations throughout the district, so contact our office for more information at 205-290-3151. And so I also want to congratulate the Huffman School, the Lady Vikings, for their appearance in the championship. So that was the first time a girls team from Huffman High School has put a state trophy in the trophy case, and so we're excited about that. That's their very first appearance in the history of the school in the championship, so very excited about them, and they're going to be here next week, so y'all be able to tell them too.
Thank you, Councilor Woods. Councilor Tate.
Thank you, Madam President. Wylam neighborhood will meet tonight at 6 p.m. in person at the Wylam Library, and also conference call. The number is 720-740-9863. The access code is 6589380. Oak Ridge will meet Thursday at 4 p.m. Conference call. The number is 952-206-4918. The code is 223418. Hooper City will meet this Thursday at 6 p.m. in person at the Hooper City Rec Center. And also conference call. The number is 978-990-5000. The code is 199737. The next Public Safety Committee meeting will be Tuesday, March the 14th at 1 p.m. here in the council chamber. You can submit your meeting applications to Brandon McCray by Thursday, March the 9th at 4 p.m. The monthly Pratt Ansley implementation meeting will be this Thursday at 5 p.m. It will be held at McAlpine Rec Center. And the Wylam neighborhood is gearing up for a cleanup on Saturday. And that's from 8 to 10 p.m. We're asking everyone to participate, and you need to meet us at the Wylam Park at 7:30. And the park is located at 1101 Detroit Street. Also on Sunday, the Movement Fellowship Church, under the direction of Pastor Chris Erskines, will have their cleanup day. So we're having a cleanup day after church Sunday. And that's from 12 to 2 p.m. And the church is located at 1140 Pratt Highway. So we're going to be focusing on Pratt Highway, cleaning up Pratt Highway. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Ms. Tate. Mr. Williams.
Thank you. Economic Development's work session will be today following this meeting in conference rooms D and E. So, Mr. Moore, Mr. O'Quinn, if y'all could join me, I'd appreciate it. Roebuck Springs Neighborhood will be meeting Thursday, March the 9th at 7 p.m. at their usual spot at New Beginning Church. And then to repeat the clerk's earlier announcement about our board vacancy, with the Downtown Redevelopment Authority, candidates must be a citizen of the city of Birmingham, not a officer or employee of any any office, state, county, municipal. If you're interested, please email your resume to india.bailey@birminghamal.gov by Tuesday, April the 11th. And also, very special happy birthday to India. It is her birthday today.
Yes, happy birthday.
So happy birthday, India.
40th.
What? Do what?
He said no, she said. Thank you very much, and happy birthday to India. We're very excited about that. Councilor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam President.
Lady in red.
Oakwood Place neighborhood will meet at Harrison Park Recreation Center today at 4 p.m. The Mason City Neighborhood Association will meet today as well via teleconference at 4:30 p.m. The call-in number is 712-770-8017, and the code is 843426. The next PIC meeting will meet today at 2 p.m. in the council chambers. The next Budget and Finance meeting will meet this Monday, March 13th at 3:30 p.m. in the council chambers. Submissions are due tomorrow by noon. Submissions received after noon will be placed on the next Budget and Finance agenda. Email submissions to laquia.wilson and ethan.harris@birminghamal.gov. Just like Transportation Committee, we will only have one committee meeting in March due to NLC. And then lastly, congratulations to the Huffman girls. I did watch the game. They fought hard. I'm very proud of them. I didn't know that was the first time they had brought home a state trophy, so it's very huge. And congratulations to the Ramsey boys. They lost by 1 point in the Final Four, but I'm very proud of them. And you know, it's so crazy, Councilor Woods, I had a Facebook memory where literally last year we were congratulating Huffman and Ramsey for going to the Final Four. So I'm really proud of those two schools for everything they're doing athletically. And for more information on the exciting events happening in District 6, visit our website at www.d6bham.com. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem. These are announcements for District 7. We'll have neighborhood meetings on Thursday, March 9th. The West Brownsville neighborhood will meet via conference call at 10 a.m. and the Roosevelt City neighborhood will meet via conference call at 11 a.m. Friday, March 10th, there's a bulk trash and brush pickup, which is scheduled for Germania Park on the north side of Germania Park. So that pickup is scheduled for Friday, March 10th. On Sunday, March 12th, in honor of Women's History Month, the Community First Birmingham Southwest Alliance Association and the men of our community will present their 8th annual Soul Food Sunday, which will be at 2 p.m. at the Oxmoor Valley Recreational Center in District 7. That's 1992 Winona Oxmoor Road, and they'll be honoring some great women in our community, and one of their leadership awards will be awarded to former principal at Winona High School, Mrs. Regina Carr Hope. And on Monday, March 13th, the Oxmoor Valley neighborhood will meet at the Oxmoor Valley Community Center. If you miss a trash pickup or you want to report illegal dumping, please be sure to call 205-254-6312, or you can call the D7 hotline at 205-304-1797. For more neighborhood District 7 updates, please visit our website. Now we have a website. At www.district7bham.com, and you can get information about the dial-in information for these conference calls and updates regarding District 7. Thank you for those announcements. Thank you for bringing us up to date on your things going on, activities in your districts, Counselor. This time, Mr. Clerk, do we have anything left over? Oh, sorry, Counselor Moore.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. We actually have one presentation, and so I'm going to ask that my guests come up to the front. Thank you, Madam President and Pro Tem and the rest of my colleagues on the council. We know the importance of art and the value that it adds to education. The Alabama State Board of Education actually recognized March as Arts and Education Month. And so in doing so or in joining them, we wanted to do the same thing here by having some students from UAB. I know we have Ms. Ratika Samant, who is the student body president at UAB. And I know I'll give her an opportunity to introduce the rest of her colleagues as well, but just wanted to read this a brief synopsis of this resolution. So, whereas the Council of the City of Birmingham joins the Alabama State Board of Education in recognizing the month of March as Arts Education Month. Arts education comprising of a rich array of disciplines, including dance, media arts, music, theater, visual arts, and more, is a well-rounded subject and an essential element of a complete education for all students. Whereas arts education enables students to develop critical thinking and problem-solving skills, imagination and creativity, discipline and collaboration. In addition, it offers alternative ways to communicate and express feelings and ideas and cross-cultural understanding, which supports academic success across the curriculum. Arts education contributes to establishing an environment where students can express themselves positively and increase a student's likelihood to participate in civic life, volunteerism, and community engagement. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the City of Birmingham, with Mayor Randall L. Woodfin concurring, pauses in its deliberations to support the designation of the month of March as Arts Education Month in the City of Birmingham, presented this 7th day of March 2022 or 2023. Let me catch up. At the recommendation of yours truly, Councilor J.T. Moore. So I do want to give, like I said, Ms. Ratika an opportunity to speak and introduce her fellow classmates.
To Councilor Moore, all members of the City Council, and more, thank you for your time and passage of this resolution. Hi everyone, my name is Ritika Samant, and we are all students at UAB in the Health Policy Ambassadors Program. This resolution for an Arts and Education Month lays the foundation for a brighter future for the youth, a future rooted in cultivating creativity and imagination. The expected impact is not only children reveling in an essential component of their education, it's also the furthering of public health with greater individual wellness and pervasive well-being in the city of Birmingham through the centering of art in the human experience.
Hi, my name is Ami Deve. As a student, my education was highly STEM-focused, but I had a genuine interest in arts. As a result, my parents allowed me to take part in art classes through my community, an opportunity that my school did not offer. I competed and placed amongst other students across the region and state in art competitions, but when fees became a little bit too expensive, my parents sat me down and told me that classes were no longer feasible. Had my middle school offered the resources and opportunities to express myself through art, my parents would not have been burdened by fees, and I would not have been forced to sacrifice my creative outlet.
Hi, my name is Ahil Rajpari, and as 3 undergraduate students at UAB, we examined existing initiatives and the benefits of arts education, not to mention the prevailing evidence that the arts allows for innovation and creativity in decision making. We realize that change takes time and hope that this serves as a foundation for good work for years to come. We see this resolution not only as a foundation for students in Birmingham, but also for those in surrounding municipalities. And we want to promote greater awareness on the lasting benefits of the arts on the intellectual growth for the future leaders of our community. And while none of us are students, are art students through our university, we worked alongside the Arts Collaboration to use collective feedback to address critical pieces of our resolution. And we now turn it over to Deanna Surcott to speak on behalf of the Arts Collab.
Good morning, Council.
Good morning.
On behalf of the entire arts education community, thank you for this recognition of arts education and its significance for young people in our city. I want to thank our UAB Health Policy Ambassadors for their remarks and work to prepare the resolution. At the Arts Collaborative, it is our great privilege to work at the intersection of schools and the nearly 200 community arts education partners we have here in the city of Birmingham to make sure that all young people can benefit from our city's vibrant arts education resources. We look forward to continuing to work with the city to elevate the arts education opportunities in Birmingham. Thank you again for the resolution, and happy Arts Education Month.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Councilor Clark.
Yeah, I want to just give a special shout out to Deanna and her organization because they work to get teachers together with artists to really teach the standards, and it helps create more engagement in the classroom. And they've been working with Jefferson County Memorial Project in Bush Hill STEAM Academy, and it's created some tremendous engagement. And I can remember through Create Birmingham, we had a Department of Education grant to pair teachers and artists, and they would work over the summer on arts integration lesson plans, and the teachers would receive a stipend, and the teachers were excited, the artists were excited, and then they got to get the students excited. And I don't know if there's evidence of learning gains from teaching this way, but I would be real curious to know. And I just want to applaud you for founding an organization, I guess. I don't know if you founded it, but it's continuing to work, some work that I got to participate in many years ago. And I think it's vitally important because we don't have the same kind of arts instruction that we used to have in all of our schools. So, and then using art to teach the standards just makes it more efficient and gets you to a yes from the school and the teachers. So it's a clever way to get it in. So thank you for the work that you do, and thank you all for raising awareness.
Thank you very much. Councilor Moore, you want to go ahead and move your resolution?
Yes, move the item.
All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, I'll move the item again.
Aye. Thank you very much. And I did just want to ask, I know you all are not art majors. Can you just tell me what your majors are?
So I major in public health.
Okay.
I'm majoring in neuroscience.
Okay.
And I'm majoring in political science.
All right. Well, thank you all very much. Thank you. All right. Mr. Clerk, we'll go ahead and call the speakers.
First of all, I'm John Meehan. I reside at 3404 Avenue H here in Birmingham. I believe Councilwoman Tate is my council representative in here. I am here to make an announcement. I am the coordinator for the Passionist community of Holy Family and St. Mary's and St. Joseph's here in Birmingham. We're two African American parishes and one Latino parish. We're going to be sponsoring a rosary prayer service to take place on March the 25th at 10 a.m. to end gun violence. And you know, gun violence has no religious affiliation. Gun violence tears our communities apart. And so we're going to have a prayer service to end gun violence on March the 25th. It's going to take place at Sacred Heart Catholic Church, which is at 3401 27th Court North in Collegeville. And I believe that is Councilman Moore's district. And we are extending an invitation for all of you to come because this is very important. Our community, our group wants to work on trying to work, how can we end gun violence and do the other things that we do. I'm in charge also of the coordinator of the Green Committee to protect our environment. But this is the most important thing that's coming up. I do have some flyers to pass out to the council to invite you to come. The speakers are going to be Reverend Kevin Anthony, pastor of Shiloh Baptist Church in Norwood, and Mr. Daniel McCormick, who is the diocesan director of the Office of Religious Education for the Catholic Diocese of Birmingham. And this is also co-sponsored by the Diocesan Office of Black Catholic Ministries, which James Watts is the director. So we want you to come out because gun violence is a real problem and we must address it. We must do something about it. You know, it's a serious problem, and the way to do it is prayer. And the way to do it, not only through prayer, but through action. So I wanted to bring this announcement to you. Here's the flyers. to pass out, please come. You're invited, no matter who you are, what religion you are. This is an open event, and and the only way to end gun violence is for us to stand up and pray. And that's what it's all about. Thank you so much.
Thank
if
you,
anybody
sir.
got any questions that you want to ask.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you bringing this information to us, and we'll be sure to share it so that people.
And also, I wanted to say, we are also, the Holy Family is also in Councilwoman Clark's district, and so we're glad, and we look forward to working with you and our Green Committee and what we can do to help. You know, we need to work together. So thank you so much.
And thank you, sir. And I just want to make you aware that a number of councilors will be at a National League of Cities meeting on this date. So please don't take it that.
Well, that's okay. We had to set it the way.
Thank you.
You know, I'm here because our deacon, who is Deacon Walter Henderson, who was under the weather, sent me here and asked me to make this presentation.
Thank you.
So, thank you, and we'll hope. And this is not going to be the last one. We'll have more of them, more to come up.
Thank you.
And we might be in your district.
All right, come on. Thank you. All right, Mr. Clerk. I think she left. All right. And she did as well. She spoke earlier. Thank you very much. At this time, councilors, we will call for adjournment, but first I'd like to thank our officers on duty today, Cedric Pinkert, Trenton Covington, and Eric Williams, both of the West Precinct. Thank you very much.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Aye. I thank you. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
So on Monday night, we had an opportunity to have our State of the District 4 meeting with all of our neighborhood officers. And it really was a great opportunity for us to be able to just level set with all of our leaders in the district. We've had some folks that were newly elected, as well as some folks that were elected into different positions. And so it was a great opportunity for us to just be able to come together to say, hey, these are the things that you have brought to our attention that are priorities. And these are, I guess, current answers or, the scope of work thus far for those different issues.
And we have so many car businesses, and there is no reason why we should be in a condition like these.
So some of the things that, were of top priority were, number one, street resurfacing. Hey, where are we in terms of getting our roads repaved? Are the roads that I'm concerned about on the list? And if not, what do I do with those roads that, need to be added?
There's nobody over the project. I was happy that Ms. Thompson got up, that she's here. I also want to commend you on saying we need to work together.
What are some of the demolitions that are going to take place in my district? Are those things that, I have identified or that I see need to be addressed on that list?
In the dark, we'll stay connected together.
So it's important to have these meetings because, our neighborhood officers are the first line of defense when it comes to our neighborhoods. They're the first ones to bring our attention to the challenges that each neighborhood faces. And frankly, they're going to be the first ones that are really trying to make sure that they progress and move these issues along and keeping city councilors like myself informed of the issues that are most pressing. So I do want to send a huge shout out to the Southern Museum of Flight for allowing us to utilize the space. If you have not gone to the Southern Museum of Flight, please make it your business to go and visit that location. And then I also want to give a huge shout out to Mr. Tony Bales. If you have not gone to eat at Bales in Woodlawn, you need to get your life, all right? Because it's good stuff, all right? You're missing out on a good meal. So I just want to say thank you to them for being there and for supporting.
And for more from the Birmingham City Council, follow along with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Stay safe, Birmingham.